Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi guys, this is your host, Alicia DeBrell from Insight Media. Today I get the privilege to interview JDelva, a New York real estate agent. Although Gene is originally from Haiti, he grew up in the city of New York. Today, Gene is going to educate first-time homebuyers on what all is involved when buying a home in the New York market. He will go into great detail on what to expect when taking on this type of transaction all the way to the closing table. With over 6 years of experience and knowledge in the real estate behind him, he brings a wealth of knowledge to this interview that any homebuyer would want to hear. So without further ado, I want to welcome JDelva to the show. Hi, Gene. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Alicia. First, I would like to say thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, no, I'm excited. This is going to be a great interview. So let's get right down to it. So
Sure.
Who do you help and how do you help them?
Well, I mainly focus on helping first-time home buyers. And one of the ways that I help them is by educating them on the process. I kind of, let them know what is necessary in order to move forward if they decide to, invest in the home, because, that's a very big investment, and also it's also very important for some people. So
what should a first-time home buyer consider before making a decision to buy their home? What are some things they should consider beforehand?
Beforehand, one of the first things they should consider, first of all, they should consider making sure that they have, stability, meaning that, they have a steady job, they have, a good amount of money saved up for the deposit. Most banks require anywhere from 5 to 10%, unless you're getting an FHA loan, then it only requires 3.5. But at the same time, there's other fees involved when purchasing a home, and so having a down payment and some money saved up is very important.
And what about credit? Do they need to get their credit in line beforehand, or are things more lenient nowadays?
Well, as far as credit, having a good credit will definitely give you more. Will definitely be more beneficial for anyone deciding to invest in real estate. For one, they can get a better credit rate. A good credit would pretty much show the bank that your ability to pay your bills on time, and therefore they'll definitely give you preferential treatment. But if worse come to worse, and your credit's not as good, you can always get an FHA loan. The rate might be a little bit higher, but at the same time, the good thing about getting an FHA loan is that you're only required to put down 3.5%. So it all depends. Yeah.
Okay, so making sure that you have a stable, good savings, stable income, and some medium to decent credit is always beneficial when buying a home. So what are some important things to focus on? Like, if I'm going to buy a home, what are some things that I should, sit and think about before taking on that decision? Like, what type of property and along those lines?
You know what? To be honest with you, before even thinking about what kind of house you want, I really have to let people know, like, one of the most important things to consider, believe it or not, is where the source of your income is coming from. Meaning whether you're working and then you're getting a check, whether you have some money saved up is very important. And also, depending on the loan, there's going to be a lot of paper trail that's going to be requested, like the bank or the lender. They're going to want to know where that money is coming from. So it's very important when you decide that you want to invest in a home in the future to start putting all your documents in a safe place, so that way they can be accessible when the time comes and when you want to decide to sit down with a lender and get qualified. That way, you can have all your documents ready, and then you can move on to the next step, which is, getting qualified, getting pre-approved for a loan.
So having all of your ducks in a row prior, so it makes it for less stressful getting involved in the transaction.
It's very, very important. For instance, I've been in situations where we were held up for for a month, maybe a month and a half, only because a client didn't have a specific document that the bank needed in order to move forward. So that's very very important.
So let's just say they're already at that point where they got the pre-approval. What are some different options as far as properties available to choose from?
Well, the options that they have, there are many different options. It all depends on the person's lifestyle, where they are in their life. Are they single? Are they married? Do they have, children? It all depends on their circumstance. And also their income is also, a major factor. If they have a decent income and they have a stable job, a single family is not a bad idea, if they don't mind, keeping up with the house, mowing the lawn and stuff like that. But if they're very busy and they have a busy lifestyle and they just want to be able to just go inside their house, their homes, and just, not worry about the exterior of the property, they can get a condo. Another good thing about the condo is, condo you can finance up to 90% in most condos, and also co-op is definitely another option. A co-op is really good option. One of the main reasons why it's a good option is there's a lot of co-ops. Condo is somewhat of a new type of properties. It hasn't been around for that long, so therefore a buyer will have more options of buying a co-op, and because of that, co-op tend to be less expensive in comparison to a condo. But it all depends. First I would have to sit down with the client and see, and explain to them the options, and then based on their lifestyle, they could either go with a condo, a co-op, or a single family, and maybe a multifamily. If they have enough funds and they would like to have an investment component to their homes where they can live in one unit and rent out the other unit. There's a lot of benefit that comes with that. So it all depends on the individual.
Okay, I want to clarify. So when you're referring to condo, you're talking about HOA. So it's HOA versus a co-op. What's the difference?
Well, when you purchase from a co-op, you basically own a share of the building. You don't necessarily own the physical unit. It's a co-op is basically a corporation. So your share will equal to a percentage of whatever makeup of the building. And a condo is you do own the physical part inside of the exterior of the property. It's your property. You can do you can do whatever you want as long as it's not anything extensive. Like if you have to move a wall, you might have to get permission. But a condo, the only thing about condo is there's maintenance fees that you have to pay for the upkeep of the property, as well as a co-op. But a co-op, there's more rules, and like I said, it's a corporation, and a corporation, you have shareholders, and your shareholders have a say so on the decision of of the unit. So for someone who owns a co-op, for them to rent their property, for them to do, there are some co-ops who are more lenient than others, but as far as a co-op there's more rules and regulation, where a condo there's more flexibility on what you can do with the physical unit. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so does a home buyer really need a real estate agent? I mean, nowadays you've got Craigslist, you've got Zillow, you've got a million different sites to find a home. Do they really need a real estate agent?
Well, the first thing I would like to say is that I would like to point out the fact that real estate agency has been around for over 100 years, and this fact alone shows that anything that has been around for that long must have an advantage. Do you agree with that?
Yes, no, definitely.
So just to tell you a little bit about it, as an agent, my job is to protect the client's interests, and we do that through a set of fiduciary responsibilities, meaning that we have certain guidelines, certain things that we have to adhere to. And in my experience in the industry, what I do is I have to make sure that a client, whether it's a buyer or seller, make the best investment decision. For once, if you're a seller, my job is to make sure that you get more money in your pocket than you would if you were to do it yourself. And as a buyer, I make sure that you get the right property at the right price. Meaning that I'm not going to allow you to pay more for a property than what it's worth. And also, there's all kind of things that can happen in a transaction. For example, that can be miscommunication. An attorney may not agree with another attorney, and all kind of things can happen. And as an agent, as a client, you need a middleman who has experience and who can communicate with all parties and make sure that everything goes smoothly. And that's where I come in. And it's just so many different services that we provide that someone doing it themselves, doing it yourself is not going to be a good idea, because it's just so many problems, any issues, all kind of issues that can rise up that, a typical, buyer or seller may not be able to deal with. And by me as an agent having, all these different, these experiences and having all these resources at my fingertips, I can, for one, I can protect you from anything that can happen that can, that can harm you financially, or that can cause you any stress. My job is I would take on all those for you, and then the only thing you have to worry about is just being cooperative, and that's it.
So, if I'm a home buyer, and I'm looking at real estate agents, what should I consider when deciding which one to work with?
Well, the first thing I would say is when deciding to hire an agent, you want to make sure that you get somebody who's passionate about their career, someone who has testimonials, meaning that other people that have dealt business with that person, word of mouth, people telling you that this person is legit, and people that have, a track record of helping people successfully. And also, you want to work with somebody who's, sympathetic, someone who, who's gonna put themselves in your shoes, someone who's gonna make your goals their goals. They want to see you win. They want to see you be a homeowner. For them, it's not about the money. For them, it's about making you happy, seeing you and your family transition from renting, paying all this money to rent an apartment, to moving to a single family where you have a backyard where your kids can play. I mean, this is what you want. You want someone who's on your team, and for us as a real estate agent, speaking for myself, it's not just about the commission. It's more about the relationship, And one of the reasons why I got into this business was to help people, and I like helping people, and I like interacting with people. So for me, that part of the business is very rewarding.
Well, that kind of brings me into my next question, which is, what do you think makes you so successful when working with new home buyers? Like when it's their first home, why are you so successful working with these type of clients?
Well, like I said before, the first thing first, I'm very sympathetic. I put myself in their shoes, and also, personally, like I've been in that situation where, I've been in a situation where my parents, they were trying to purchase a home, and there were so many things that they had to go through, and my knowledge and my resources as an agent, if it wasn't for that, it would have never become a homeowner because I was able to foresee all the issues that, that occurred, and I was able to help them get through those issues. And the only reason why they're today a homeowner is because of my knowledge and my experience. And then I can definitely tell you that, buying a home, it's a big thing for most people, because when you think about it, most people invest, their life savings into a house. And making that move definitely impact a person's life. For once, it changes their lifestyles. It moves them from, it gets them from renting a house to renting an apartment to owning. To being able to do whatever they want with their house, come and go as they please, and then not to worry about paying a high rent. And I can say to anybody that I'm very resourceful. I have experience. I've been there for some people, even people who thought they wouldn't be able to be approved are now homeowners, because I never give up on them. That's the thing about me, picking me as your agent. You're not gonna lose, because I will fight for you, and I'll make sure that you're successful. And then, for one, if I can't help you, I will get you to the people. I'll connect you to the people that will help you get to a position where you can be able to afford a house one day. So, I think it's my passion for the job. I really love what I do.
Well, I like that you really, really care about the people as a whole and your patients, and I think that makes you, a good real estate agent to deal with first-time home buyers, because you need to have a lot of patience, especially if it's their first transaction.
Yeah, definitely, I do agree, because most people, at the beginning are very nervous because they don't know what they're getting into. So, I agree with what you said, being patient and having compassion for them and trying to understand where they're coming from is very important. I agree.
So tell me what is the definition of a real estate agent? What exactly do you do? What is your role in the transaction?
You know what? Okay, a real estate agent is pretty much a middle person that helps a buyer or a seller with a real estate transaction, and also a real estate agent is there to protect either or the buyer or seller through a set of fiduciary responsibilities, and the agent uses his or her experience in order to make that happen. And one of the important reasons why it is important to have an agent is because in a real estate transaction, there are so many factors that can play out, and you need someone that can take responsibility if something happens, if something should occur. That person, you want someone to have experience that will know what to do and in order to fix whatever the situation is. For example, if somebody buying a house and something happened where there's a defect, with the house, or you need someone that can point that out, someone that can make sure that issue is taken care of, and also someone that can skim through the contract to make sure that everything is legible, everything is correct. It's very important. You can't do that by yourself, because first of all, you come into the situation, very new. There's a lot of things that needs to be done. So by having someone that has experience to help you is very important. And also, when it comes to an agent, the agent has knowledge of the market. So if you're buying a property, an agent can save you from paying too much for the property. They can educate you on different financing. They can help you save money in ways you would have never imagined, and they can show you, educate you on the process, and show you what it takes to maintain the house once you get it. It's just so many things that we provide, and it's funny because a lot of these services that we provide it at low cost. The only time we get paid is at the closing, and that's if that's only when the transaction comes to conclusion, so why not use an agent? Because whether you're selling, whether you're buying, you will for one, if you're buying, save money by using an agent, and two, you will put more money in your pocket by using an agent if you're selling. Because first of all, we give the seller the maximum exposure, and then not only that, we'll provide them with multiple offers from different buyers, and by doing that, the person, the client, the seller will sell their house in less time, and also will put more money in their pocket. So I definitely think it's a win-win for a buyer and a seller to use an agent.
What kind of fees are involved when using a real estate agent?
You know what? Actually, it doesn't cost you a thing to use an agent. I know this might sound funny, but we actually do not charge anything. That's why if you hire an agent and then they're asking you to pay this and that for doing anything for them, you just gotta be careful. The only time that an agent is compensated for helping, whether it's a buyer or seller, is when is at the closing of a transaction, of a real estate transaction. And as far as the buyer in most situations don't really have to worry about paying the fee, because the fee is basically coming from the seller. The standard fee is 6%, and that fee is split 50-50, and the 3% goes to the buying agent, and then the other 3% stay with the seller's agent, and then that fee gets split again with each agent's broker. And that's pretty much how the brokers get paid.
And so if I'm a first-time homebuyer, and you tapped into this a little bit in the beginning of the interview, but what are some different financing options available for first-time homebuyers? And are there different loans for different type of properties? So like if I'm buying a co-op, or if I'm buying a condo, or if I'm buying a, single-family or multifamily, are there different loans that are set for different properties? How does that work?
Okay, let me start by saying that getting pre-approved for mortgage definitely helps you bargain from a position of strength when you're thinking about buying a house. For example, one of the best places to try to get a loan is probably where you bank at, or maybe a local union. And also, the real estate agent can direct you to give you a list, of preferred lenders, meaning that people that they've used in the past, people that they know are credible, that can help you get a loan. And some of these people will offer you different options based on your situation, meaning that everybody have different circumstances. Some people have preferred credit, but then their finances are low, or some people have, great finance, meaning they make a lot of money, but their credit score not good. So no one person, is the same. Everybody's situation is different. So, but the worst come to worst, if you can't qualify for any product that a lender, will offer you based on your situation or your finances and your credit, you can always consider getting an FHA loan. The Federal Housing Administration has a program that insures the mortgage of many first-time home buyers. As a result, lenders who might be, apprehensive about, your qualifications, your credit score, and things like that, will be more, enthusiastic to lend to you. The advantage, like I said before, of using an FHA, being qualified for an FHA loan, is that you only have to put down 3.5% for a first-time home buyer, whether you're buying a condo or a single-family, or even a multi-family house. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, and I want to touch again on let's say, so now I'm approved for a loan, but now I'm considering what kind of property it is. And you were talking about, home associations and co-ops. Are there, if I'm going to consider, going with a condo or a co-op, are there some things that I should consider? I mean, do they have rules on rehabs? You touched a little bit, but can you go in a little bit more detail on the type of things you want to make sure that you are aware of before making that decision?
Sure, no problem. I mean, ideally, you want to invest in a stable, well-run community, meaning that, a community that's financially stable. One of the things that you should ask is you should definitely get a copy of the association's budget. The association, most likely won't give the buyer a copy because, they want you to invest, so there's certain information that they might not want to disclose. But the seller of the unit can request a copy, so therefore you can ask them for a copy, and if they give it to you, then you know that they're not hiding anything, and then you can move forward, confidently. As far as making any changes, doing any decorating or anything like that, or rehabs in the property, if you're not doing anything that's not gonna compromise, the integrity of the building, if you're not going to move any beams or any walls, things that can be, drastic, it shouldn't be a problem, as long as you put in a letter, and then you show the association that the person that's doing the work has the permit and everything is in place, then yeah, it shouldn't be an issue, But yeah, but as far as co-ops, co-op, like I was saying, is basically a corporation with shareholders, and a board approval is required before anything is done. So therefore, you will have to get a vote, and and pretty much, if it's not something that is substantial, I don't see why they wouldn't, let you do it,
So the difference is when you have a condo or an HOA, you own the unit, but you don't own the outside, the exterior and the ground. And then with a co-op, you own a portion of the building, not necessarily your unit. Did I explain that right?
Pretty much. Yeah. You pretty much own a share of the corporation, and then you actually get a certificate, a lease certificate when you at the closing. You don't really get the title to the house.
All right. So now that I know what kind of property I want, what are some important things to consider when choosing a neighborhood?
I tell everyone that you should definitely invest in an area where you're comfortable. Like me, I live in Brooklyn, but I do work in the city of Manhattan. But I do a lot of my business in Brooklyn because I live there, and it's convenient for me when I have appointments, and and it goes the same for anybody looking for a place to live. You want to look for somewhere where you feel comfortable, and it also depends on the individual. Are you single? Are you married? Do you have kids? Are there certain schools that you want your child to attend? And so I think it's something that that you have to think about and see where it makes sense. You want to make sure that the location has transportation, grocery stores. You want to make sure that it's an area where you're comfortable. Where you don't feel uneasy and things in that nature. So I think being comfortable is definitely very important. Being comfortable in an area, is very important.
and where you're at in your life, because somebody who's single is going to probably want to live somewhere different than somebody who has 3 kids and a dog. So definitely. So, and now if I'm choosing a neighborhood, and let's just say I'm choosing between 2 and I've got 2 options, is it important to see these neighborhoods at different times of the day?
Yeah, definitely. Some people, I think so. I think most people, most people say, for example, I've shown people Poplars before, and they in the daytime, and then they told me, you know what, Gina, I like this unit, but I'm gonna stop by. I want to put in an offer on this property, but before I do, I was wondering if it was okay for me to stop by tonight around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just to get the vibe of the neighborhood. And I agree with that, because at the end of the day, this is a big investment. You're gonna live there for 5 to 6 years. So you definitely want to have a good rapport. You do want to feel comfortable. So, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I would also assume that would help you get an idea of like how much traffic, or if you're close to a school, in school that's out, maybe there's, 50 cars parked in front of your house. So I think that's probably helpful too, different, especially like traffic rush hour and stuff like that, or train tracks.
That's true. That's true. That's why, what I do is when I meet up with a first-time client, I do ask all these questions, and I try to prepare them, for what they're getting into. And also, when buying a real estate, flexibility is very important. You might not get everything on your list. For example, you might get, the right school district. You might get the restaurant, transportation. But then again, you might not get that parking, so, but then the house might be perfect. So, you might have to, give up the parking because everything else is so perfect. So, you have to kind of outweigh your options, per se.
Okay. So how many homes should a new home buyer or a first-time home buyer look at before making a decision?
I believe that if the agent does his or her homework correctly, once the agent educate the buyer on what to expect, educate them on the market, show them what's out there. I believe that after seeing 4 homes, because like with me, when I work with a buyer, after interviewing them, finding what their needs are and things like that, I can show them one property, and then they can make an offer on that one. But I always make a point to show them 4 to 5 different houses. That way they have options just in case things don't work out with the first house or the second house. They always have a backup. But I would say 4 at the least.
Okay, so somewhere between like 4 to 5, around that.
Yeah.
Comfort zone. Okay. Cool. So once a new home buyer likes a house, what's next?
Once a home buyer likes a house, the first thing is to sit down and discuss making an offer. That makes sense, And what I mean by that is we have to find out what other comparable houses are going for in the market, and then we have to see what this house is priced at, and then we have to. And my job is to make sure that they get some kind of discount, and then we have to make a nice offer. What I'll do is I'll educate them on the market, let them know what properties are going for, and then I'll suggest what the house is worth, and I'll give them 2 or 3 different ideas of what they could offer, and then ultimately they'll make a decision on, what, Gene, I think I'm going to offer more aggressive because, right now we want to move quickly, depending on the person's situation, or if they have a lot of time to play with, they might say, what, I don't want to, I think I want to take my time, so I don't want to make an offer that aggressive. I want to offer less, and so the offer also depends on the person's situation too, and And then after that, then once the offer is placed, the seller could either accept the offer or reject the offer. If the offer is accepted, then a contract is sent out to the buyer's attorney. The seller's attorney drafts the contract that is sent it to the buyer's attorney. And then once the buyer reads the contract, make sure everything is good, then that attorney will give the buyer permission to sign the contract, and then a deposit will be collected based on what was agreed upon doing the financing with the lender, whether it's 3.5, 10%, and things like that. And then afterward, there will be an inspection where a professional will come and inspect the house, make sure everything is good, make sure the pipes are running, make sure there's no defects in the exterior or inside of the house, things like that. And then a report will be made, and the buyer will be notified of everything that was inspected, and it will be, they will let them know, if something needs to be done. And, if the property is in good condition, then the next step is the appraisal, where the bank, want to determine whether the money that they're lending is a good investment. They want to make sure that for instance, if they're, giving you $500 to invest in this property, they want to make sure that the house is in fact, worth $500,000. And then, if the property checks out, everything is good, then the next step is the walkthrough. Which this is before the closing. This is where, there's like one last time for the buyer to go through the property and inspect and make sure everything is running. We check the stove, the cabinets, everything. And then, once after that step, then the closing will be held. And then this is when all the checks are cleared, and the money from the buyer goes to the seller. The agent, the commission is cut, check is cut, and that's it. And then we move forward. That's pretty much the process, how the process goes.
Okay, bring me back to the walkthrough. So what if the inspection's done, or in the appraisal's done, but I'm going through the walkthrough, and or maybe something comes back on the inspection that something's wrong with the house, or maybe something went wrong in the walkthrough. How does something like that get resolved? Is that the buyer's responsibility or the seller's? If, let's just say, like the stove doesn't work, or the electricity doesn't work, or something.
I understand. I always think that whatever happens, whatever comes up that is wrong, is the seller's responsibility, because they're responsible for the house up until the house is transferred to the buyer. So therefore, if something is found in the house to be a defect after the inspection, then there are one or two ways that that situation can be handled. One, the seller might say, hey, listen, I just want to move on with my life. I really don't want to put any energy in this house. I cannot offer you a discount in the price. And with that discount, after the buyer owns the house, at his or her discretion, the buyer can decide to, fix whatever, the defect, whatever it is. That's one way to fix the situation. The second way is if the seller, have experience in fixing house or anything like that, and they feel like they can fix whatever the issue is, with no problem, then they will elect to do that, and then that's something that happens all the time, actually. And yeah.
So it kind of really just depends on the situation, like who the buyer is and who the seller is, and what the issue is, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're at the closing table. If I'm a first-time home buyer, how would I know what to do?
Well, if you're a first-time home buyer, whether you're a first-time home buyer or not, when buying a house, as an agent, our job is to educate you and give you a lot of information. We'll remind you when to be somewhere, where to be. We'll remind you what to bring, because the worst thing that can happen is, going to closing, and then the buyer doesn't have a document, and then the closing has to be postponed or rescheduled. But our job is to make sure that you're ready, that you have all the paperwork necessary for the closing, that you have a lot of money with you, your checks and everything like that. We're going to make sure that you come to the closing table and everything goes smooth.
Okay, so you're there as a real estate agent to kind of hold your buyer's hand through the transaction, or seller's hand. I guess it depends on who you're working with, correct?
Yeah, correct, definitely. Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is that as an agent, where we do a lot. We qualify people. We mentor people. We educate them on the process. We hold their hands. We protect them from any issues that can occur. And then we also make sure that they have, all the documents. Make sure that they're there on time. It's just so many things we do. It's just so many things we do. For example, we explain the financing options. We make sure that they get pre-approved, and then we make sure that they see all the potential properties that they should see. We educate them on what it takes to purchase the property, as far as what money they should bring. We help them. We help with the agreement of purchase and sale. We negotiate on their behalf, and then we also stay in contact with the attorneys, title companies. These are some of the things that we do. Yeah, and we do all this again at no cost. Yeah, up until the closing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I was going to say, I definitely think that, what you provide for the little amount of money that it costs, and the things it could protect you from, and just to have somebody on your side that is experienced and educated and knows the process is definitely worth it. So if you had one piece of advice of somebody just starting out, would it be just to have a real estate agent involved in the transaction? Is that the piece of advice you would give?
Yeah, I definitely recommend that anybody that's doing any real estate transaction get a real estate agent involved, because I found that one of the reasons why people are apprehensive about using an agent is because of the commission. They feel that commission is coming from their pocket, and it's not, because when you think about it, if you're selling a house, an agent is going to give you maximum exposure, meaning that, for one, your house is going to be sold in less time. Number two, you're going to have more buyers, at the table, which means that you're going to be in a position where you're going to pick and choose who you want to buy your house. So that means you're going to sell at a high price. Because you got to understand that the only person that would buy a for sale by owning a house, or that would buy a house by themselves, or someone is someone that want a discount. So what so if you're not using an agent because you don't want to pay the commission, you're still gonna pay the fee, because the person that's gonna buy your house is gonna take the fee off the top. Because the only reason why they're buying is for the discount. And not only that, you're going to be in a situation where you're discounting your house, and your house is already, being at a price where it's low. So by using an agent, you will actually make more money. And as a buyer, by using an agent, you have nothing to lose, because the buyer is not the one that's paying the agent; it's the seller. So, yeah.
So what do you think is the biggest misconception or myth that people have about buying a home?
The biggest misconception. I think that the biggest misconception is that they can save money by not using an agent. And like I said before, it's not true. In fact, like I was saying before, by using agent, a seller agent will guarantee to put more money in the seller and the for sale by owner's pocket than the for sale by owner will put in his pocket. Not only that, the agent will do all the work, And the question I want to ask is how do a for sale by owner know that the person that's coming to their house is qualified to purchase the house? The answer to that is that they don't know, because our job is to qualify everyone that walks through the door. And why would you put your family in a situation where you have strangers walking through your house who are not even qualified? When you can have somebody who can screen all these people and make sure that these people are approved to purchase a house before the appointment is even made. So we're doing all this work for you, and we're doing it for free. So, why not use an agent? It's at the end of the day, it's not worth it, because there's no value on selling it yourself, other than you're gonna sell it for less, and then you're gonna make less money. And as far as an agent, as a buyer, buying a house for yourself, it's you're on your own, because the attorneys, they're too busy. They're working on a lot of deals, and they might have like 30, 40 different files on their desk, and you're only one person. So they're not gonna have time to hold your hands. They're not gonna have time to make sure that you have certain documents. They're not gonna have time to make sure that this was done at this time, and they're not gonna have time to remind you of certain things. So you definitely need an agent on your side who will protect you to make sure that you get to the closing table with no issues.
That makes sense. So if a home buyer or a seller wanted to find out more about you and how you could help them, how would they do that?
Definitely. First, I can. My office is located at 450 7th Avenue, and that's Suite 1501. And that's in New York, New York. Zip code is 10123. My phone number, contact information is 347-469-5789. And they can also email me at Gene, which is my first name, middle initials H, Delva, that's spelled D as in David, E as in Edward, L as in Lucky, V as in Victor, at gmail.com. Or they can also email me at spacecravers@gmail.com. That's spelled SPACEK as in Kansas, R as in Robert, AVERS @gmail. I'm also on Facebook, JDelva at Facebook, and also my website at www.spacecravers.com. I'm also on Tumblr at spacecravers.tumblr.com.
Great. Well, Gene, I really want to thank you for your time. The information that you gave us was extremely valuable, not only just for a first-time home buyer, but pretty much any buyer. And you even gave some really good information that a seller would want to know. And I really want to thank you for your time today.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to also thank you for having me. And, I had a good time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. All right, guys. Well, you've heard it all from JDelva, and this is your host, Alicia DeBrell from Insight Media. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.